Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this lesson. Myself, Lazon Miller, and Yunel Herbs will be presenting this lesson to you this afternoon. So, the topic for today's lesson is Introduction to DNA. So, just the lesson outline, what we will be covering for today is the function of DNA, the discovery of DNA, and the characteristics of DNA. So what is DNA? DNA is a double helix structure molecule that carries the instructions for life. Now, that DNA is like a recipe book inside every cell that tells the body how to look, how to function, and how to grow. It stores genetic information necessary for organisms to develop, survive, and reproduce. Damage to DNA can cause cells to stop dividing and will lead to cell death. Now, where can you find DNA? DNA is found in every cell on Earth. In eukaryotic cells, it is mostly kept in the nucleus and in some cases in the mitochondria. In plants, DNA is found in the chloroplasts, and in prokaryotic cells, DNA is stored in the cytoplasm. Now, there are four scientists that discovered DNA. The first two is James Watson and Francis Crick. In 1953, they concluded that the DNA molecule appears as a three-dimensional double helix. And the other two scientists are Rosalind Franklin and Maurice Wilkins. They used X-ray crystallography to study the DNA structure, which helped Watson and Crick with their discovery. Now, DNA has a few characteristics. The first is DNA's full name. So it is deoxyribonucleic acids, which is made out of nucleotide monomers. Now, the DNA has a specific structure and it is structured in a double helix form. Each nucleotide consists of a sugar molecule, a phosphate group, and a nitrogen containing base. Now, for the rest of the presentation, Yunel will take over.
Okay, so we are going to look at the DNA structure. So as you can see on your left-hand side, the picture there, the DNA is basically in a ladder form. So that's just the helix is just unwound and then it's just laid flat. As you can see, there's a 5' end and a 3' end. There's a phosphate group, which is the backbone. So the whole DNA structure consists of a sugar, which is your deoxyribose, and then you have your phosphate group, which is the backbone of the DNA, and you have your nitrogenous base. Next, we have the DNA base pairs. So DNA bases always pairs as follow. There's no exceptions. Adenine pairs with thymine and cytosine pairs with guanine. You can remember it, the A and the T makes at, and the C and the G pairs together because the letters look the same. Okay, so as you can see on your left-hand side, the area that is circled, that consists the whole nucleotide. The DNA is formed by altering sugar and phosphates held together by a strong bond, so they can't break easily. And then the rungs of the ladder are formed by 4 nitrogen bases and are held together by hydrogen bases, by weak hydrogen bases, so they can separate more easily. So, did you know that only 99.9% of our DNA is the same as every other human being on Earth? The only tiny difference that makes us unique at the end of the day is that 0.1%, which consists of your hair color, your eye color, your height, and whether you can roll your tongue or not. So, can any of you roll your tongue? Okay, so there's at least one or two of us which can roll our tongues. Then, DNA is also very important when it comes to forensic science. DNA fingerprinting is a very important tool in forensic science. It does not precisely determine the suspect's identity, but it helps to narrow it down. So, as just as a fun activity, as you can see on your left hand side, there is a crime scene sample which was taken obviously on a crime scene. Forensics took it and they want to roll out some suspects in their investigation. So, you're going to look at your locus, the different loci there, and you're going to see which suspect most align with the sample they took. So, which one do you think is the most likely to be the culprit of this investigation? Okay, Cleve, you want to unmute your mic? Cleve is nog steeds geunmute.
Is ek nou unmuted?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it can be suspect 2.
Why do you think so?
Because there is, well, the 2 top lines are both in line, and then the third locus has 1 in line.
So, well done, you are correct. Well done, you are correct. So, suspect 1 and 3 is going to be ruled out because suspect 2 is their locuses, their loci line up with each other, so he or she is most likely to be the culprit in this scenario. So, how does DNA work? DNA works in a recipe book that contains the instructions for coded genes. When a protein is needed, a copy is made as mRNA, which is also known as messenger RNA. It then goes to the ribosome where amino acids are formed into a protein. DNA stores the instructions and the proteins are the workers that follow. So, in summary, DNA, the double helix, all the discovery came from Watson, Crick, Franklin, and Wilkins. And we remember they worked together. Their work is based off from each other. The DNA characteristics. DNA is a double helix structure that is made from nucleotide monomers. The 4 bases are adenosine and thymine and cytosine and guanine. Remember the letter shapes. And then the DNA function. DNA stores genetic information in the nucleus, mitochondria, and the cytoplasm in different cells. Here is just 2 links of videos you can go watch if you want some further education on DNA, but this is just an introduction to it, so I think it covers the most of them. So yeah, thank you.